So if we were to seek out one ultra simple and extremely high leverage principle that could grant us and guide us to greater health, vitality, abundance, and longevity, what would it be? That's precisely what we're going to talk about in this video, and we're going to do that through easily studying the obvious, the simple, and the practical. And we're going to do this and accomplish this through referencing a certain quote from the Tao Te Ching, which is, I think, line 79. And it basically sums up this principle and illustrates it perfectly and clearly. And it says that when people are born, they're very supple, yet when they die, they're very stiff, very hard, and very rigid. And at birth, we're very elastic and flexible, yet at death, very rigid and unyielding. Thus, the human living state is soft and pliable, while the dead state is very hard and very rigid. Now, this principle also applies to various aspects of nature as well. Specifically, if we look at trees and we look at grass, in their young living state, they're soft and fluid and flexible and, very well hydrated, yet in their death state or decaying state, where are they? Dehydrated, hard, rigid, and inflexible. We can also use the example of sort of looking at a bamboo tree versus a hardwood tree. So let's say there's a windstorm that's coming along and these two trees are right next to each other. Now the bamboo tree is very soft, fluid, flexible, and pliable. Thus it's likely going to survive that windstorm and survive and be able to adapt to the extreme pressures that the wind is going to put on it. Yet the oak tree or the hardwood tree is very, hard and rigid, and it's going to try to resist and fight against the wind and really not adapt to it and most likely be destroyed partially, if not completely and entirely. So from these simple illustrations that are completely obvious, that we all can see, meaning we can go out in our front yard or go out to a park right now and say, oh yeah, there it is, that's true, okay, I can see that. So from these principles, we can discern and pull out some key principles and ideas, meaning that if we want more health, more flow, more life, then we should thus harmonize with the principles of suppleness and fluidity and learn how to cultivate these characteristics throughout all the various aspects of our being, whether that be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever. The same principle applies. And now it's important to point out, because as soon as someone starts to mention flowing or being passive or being more fluid and supple, people tend to automatically think that means to sort of be lazy and to get stuck in a sort of, sloth-like state of sort of apathetic, lazy lethargy. That's not what it means at all. More so it means to learn to relax and to flow, to be more fluid and supple, and to cultivate these characteristics, and to learn how to use actionless action and effortless effort. And what that really means is to thus balance and harmonize our active and passive faculties while learning to use intelligence and harmony rather than brute force, struggle, strife, and effort. Or again, to use actionless action and effortless effort. So hopefully that all makes sense. There's a lot of detail, a lot of information, a lot of important concepts embedded within these simple and obvious and common sense and practical ideas. But from this we can see that if our goal is more life, we should harmonize with the principles and the concepts and the archetypes and the ways in which life is flowing, thus being more fluid and flexible and adaptable and supple, and then try to minimize and diminish the aspects that are sort of more aligning with and more harmonic with death, meaning rigidity and resistance and being sort of dehydrated and very rigid and inflexible, whether that be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, etc. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.